Welcome to Our Drummers Musicians. I'm your host Luke, and today I'm joined by Thomas Waltrich, a drummer, Twitch streamer, educator, and content creator whose journey through music has taken him across jazz, indie, post-rock, world music, punk, hardcore, and more. Thomas studied jazz and contemporary music at Monash University under some of Australia's finest teachers, including drummer Dave Beck, drummer Tony Floyd, and drummer Danny Fisher. Since then, he's been involved in everything from session work to touring and producing complete albums. Beyond his musical endeavours, Thomas is also a full-time teacher and has spent time living overseas, learning languages, and engaging in skill exchanges that have given him a broader perspective on creativity and connection. In this episode, we talk about moving to a new city and rebuilding connections, leading a music project, and learning how to navigate social media as a musician. We also dive into balancing full-time work with music, his time living and learning abroad, and how his relationship with music has shifted, including stepping away and coming back to his passion. This was a fascinating, honest, and relatable chat about the highs and lows of the musical journey. I hope you enjoy. Thanks for coming over.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Are you comfortable with volume?
Yeah, I really like it.
All right, excellent.
Really like the cans. I didn't think I would.
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we may as well just dive in.
Okay.
Because I was trying to think about the last time I saw you, and I've got no idea. I think uni. Maybe I've seen you play a show post, with Aiden. What's the Animal Art Orchestra?
Ancient Animal Orchestra. Such a mouthful.
Orchestra.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was practicing before. Messed it up. Ancient Animal Orchestra.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. I've at least seen videos.
Yeah, cool.
But I thought I'd come down because it's with Ash Richter as well. Right?
Yeah, Ash Richter and Dan Cooper leads that.
Dan
that
Cooper.
Band. We originally had Dan Sang. Dan Sang did the first album and on electric violin and stuff, and so he was one of the original members. And then when he moved to Perth, obviously that made it tricky. And not to have a go at Dan Sang, but when I moved to Tassie, I still made it work. So,
wow.
Yeah. Lack of commitment from Dan. No.
Well, all right.
But yeah, we decided to get Aidan Hodge in, mostly because, we just really like hanging out with Aidan. He's a great player. But the idea was we don't want to replace the instrument. We want to replace the quality musician with another quality musician.
Oh.
Was the thinking there.
So he replaced Daniel.
Yeah, and then I think a couple of times Dan Sang's come over from Perth and done the odd gig. We're like, let's do a gig, it'd be really fun. And he's just such a good musician. He's just so good at listening and just playing so tastefully.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right, favorite question to start the podcast.
Sure.
What's the most recent album that you've listened to?
Oh, okay. Full album that I've listened to.
If you do that.
Yeah, I do, but recently I've just been I've got I suppose an audition for a band, so I've just been listening to their singles on repeat, so I got to learn some songs.
Oh, is this the big audition?
No, I wouldn't say it's a big audition, but it looks like they're taking things seriously, so that kind of excites me.
Cool.
But I haven't met them yet, so we'll see. But I'm excited by the prospect. But
are we talking about the global drum audition where everyone in the world is going for?
No, not Primus. No,
okay.
no. This is a local band that's starting up, but they look like they're doing things professionally.
Cool. Okay, sorry.
Sorry, I'm not going.
I didn't know if we were dancing around that or not, and I was I'm going to push you because I want to know if you're auditioning for Primus.
No, I've actually never really listened to Primus except from the theme song from South Park. So
do they do the theme song?
I'm pretty sure from what I've heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So first and all the South Park I've listened to, I could play maybe that song, but.
So what's an audition look like for a new band, but that's taking things seriously? What kind of materials do they get you? Did you find an ad and stuff?
They actually found me on this app called Vampire, which is Tinder for musicians, essentially.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
No.
No, so it's you just have a profile on it and you swipe left or right on the musician who might be looking for bandmates or a gig or just wanting to connect creatively with people. Like
a photo of you with your drums or something? Is that
yeah, and it has a list of my favorite artists and links to your social media. And
okay.
I just got I sometimes get messages from people and this this guy, the bass player, reached out and just said, "Oh, we're looking for a drummer." I was like, "Okay, I'm going to need some more details," and then linked me some stuff, and I was like, "Oh, this is like a great video. The song's like professionally produced." They said that they got some goals for 2025, so yeah, and like that was enough just for me to get interested. So I've just been listening to their stuff on repeat. Full album that I've listened to, that's really hard for me to pinpoint. Maybe I'll just say the only thing that can come to my mind is One Day as a Lion. Have you heard of One Day as a Lion?
No.
So it was a project between the drummer John Theodore, who was the original drummer from the Mars Volta and is now the drummer for Queens of the Stone Age, and the rapper / singer from Rage Against the Machine, Zach De La Rocca. So it was a duo project, and they only released this EP. And Zach De La Rocca is playing like a keyboard through like a bass amp, and it's really distorted. And then you've got John Theodore with this epic drum room sound.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm planning to do like a cover of them, but it's just also an EP that I just love listening to as well.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, I want to talk about the covers thing because like you've recently started this social media, Twitch, YouTube empire.
It's definitely not an empire at all yet.
You're a really accomplished drummer, but you've sort of like been not that much like in the forefront of the like social media drummer scene, and now you've got this like fresh material, and you're posting like really high quality professional drum cover videos and streaming on Twitch, which I don't even know what it means, so I hope you can like tell me about that.
Yeah. It's really funny you mentioned this, and like I don't know if this is like breaking the fourth wall or being really meta or something, but it feels like this year I haven't been busy musically.
Okay.
And I did the covers to be busy musically.
Right.
And a friend of mine's been helping me out with how to approach social media, and also been really helpful with just navigating the technological minefield of streaming a drum kit live and covers and things like that. But it's funny that I feel like I haven't been busy this year musically. Like a lot of my bands that I play in, like, so there's like Ancient Animal Orchestra, Munkus Funkus, I suppose my project Tidal Wisdom, and there was like an indie rock band I was playing with one on stage called the Redwoods. They kind of all went on hold, and no one's really quite sure what's going on with a few of them. And it's funny that you reach out to me at this point where it feels like I'm the least busy, Yeah. But it's like, it's a testament to the power of like social media and stuff. And essentially at the start of the year, I was like having a chat to my friend Dill, who also goes by Violet Sage. And he's been my friend that's been helping me sort of navigate the world of social media. And I was just sort of griping to him, about like, I feel like I haven't achieved this, and this, and I still want to achieve those things. And, I was having that typical whinge that musicians have about social media and feeling like I missed out on opportunities. And he was just like, look, man, I back your skills and I back your work ethic. I really want to help you achieve those things. And part of it was, let's do social media properly.
Right.
Yeah. The other really cool thing, Dill recommended, it's like, just jump on, like, if you want to network, jump on some Facebook groups and, make sure you're going out to gigs. And he's really just like, be a supporter of the scene. And that was really good to hear, because I feel like I can genuinely do that, because I used to do that heaps, and I was like go check out other people's gigs, and I'd be at Bennett's Lane like 2 or 3 nights a week, and or like somewhere in Fitzroy, like there was like Conduit Arts as well. I'd see gigs at before that closed up, and Uptown Jazz Cafe, and you just see everyone's gigs, and he was really just calling me like, go back and do that, because you were part of the community at one stage there. Like, just support people and get amongst it. But also the other thing he said to me was, he was like, when you talk about your practice to me when we're having a conversation, you get super excited and animated, and authentically, like, you were excited and animated because you really are a drum nerd who loves to talk about subdivisions and groups of 2s and 3s and how bars of 4 can be cut up in different ways. He's like, you should post that stuff. And he's like, you should just like stream your practice, your process, like what you do. And if someone jumps into the chat, start a conversation with them and, see where that leads you. Or half the time when I stream, no one's watching. Like, but I'm playing stuff and I'm making realizations as I'm playing, like what I might be doing technique wise or how this certain part of the song works. And I'll just pick up a mic and I'll pretend like I'm talking to someone during the stream.
Yeah.
And throughout it, then like after the stream is over, I will cut up my stream and see if there was any content that was worthwhile. And then I kind of drip feed it throughout the year. Oh. So my friend Dill was really great in helping me, because I always felt like social media was really laborious. It took a long time for me to do posts, and look, it does, but he got me to do it really efficiently. He was like, do a stream, you've played for an hour, you've practiced for an hour, chop it up, and then, you got content for like a week,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah. The other cool thing, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place.
It's fine.
He said that, I think back to when he said, jump on some Facebook groups, get amongst the music community. And I was on a Facebook group and it's just like Melbourne musicians, and someone posted, hey, I'm looking for a drum teacher, but I can't afford one, but I'm a graphic designer and a website designer. And this is right when I'm like starting up my social media. And I reached out. Her name's Cece. She's like recently moved. She's French, but she moved from New Zealand here. And yeah, really, we kind of hit it off. I felt like I was best friends with her right from the get-go, which is really cool. But she she helped me figure out my branding. Cool. In a really genuine way. Like, she was able to ask the right questions and ask me to create different mood boards to really pinpoint what I like and gravitate to. And from there, she like designed my thumbnails and things like that. And
wow.
Has got a bit of like a website design, which I haven't used yet. But yeah, so we had this exchange where I teach her drums for an hour, and I've actually got her to do 2 covers as well.
Awesome.
Which she's been stoked about. And then she's doing all this graphic design work for like, my brand, quote unquote.
That's like such an awesome trade.
Yeah. And it's fun. Like, for me, teaching drums is not a hard thing to do, but if I was to do graphic design, I'd be tearing my hair out. So it's such a good, efficient trade of time. And, we said from the get-go, like rather than put a money equivalent of like, a drum lesson with me is worth X amount, and CC say, oh, well, graphic design work with me is worth X amount. Just like an hour of our time is equivalent for each other.
Yep.
Yeah. And we've also become really great friends in the process, which is cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's such a great way to do it.
Yeah.
Had you done anything like that before, like a swap for drum lessons for some other service?
I've done skill exchanges before. So, for example, I had a singing teacher a couple of years ago that might ask me to drum on something, and she'd be like, I can't afford to pay you, but can I just give you some singing lessons instead? And I was like, hell yeah, because that's of more value to me. Her name's Vicky Roussel. She goes by Lala Whittaker. And she's kind of known around some circles in the Melbourne scene, but she's not just great for it as a sort of like as vocal coach, but just like as a performance coach and getting out of your head and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then also when I lived in Berlin, I did a couple of like language exchanges, so to speak. So I could speak decent German, and I was planning to visit some family in Hungary, and I wanted to learn Hungarian as you do. So I just reached out on like some Berlin Facebook group and said, hey, is there any Hungarians that want help with like either English or German, and they can help me with my Hungarian. And then I had a Kiwi friend, Matt Paul, who I was playing in a band with it over there. His German was not great, and ironically he was dating a German, but it didn't improve much because her English was too good, so he didn't have to try. But he was also helping me with my singing because he could sing well, and I'd give him help with like his German grammar rules and whatever.
That's awesome though. Yeah, such a good way to swap it. I think that's like such an undervalued thing that you can do. Like, your time is valuable.
Yeah, and I think on that, like, when it comes to music projects, we often put so many walls up, and money being a big one. Like, I can't do this thing because I don't have the money. I can't afford the studio. It's like, okay, but you're actually an asset. You've got skills. Like maybe you just need to find the right people, and offer your time and services, and like it's a creative way to get some things done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
What was it like? You're sort of describing how you got this advice about different ways to like, run this like social media campaign for the year as you, build the social media brand. Like doing that, like as opposed to just practicing for yourself. Like, did it take you a while to like adjust, or like did you come into it with like, I don't know, a bit more of that like business mindset of like, this is the purpose, and I'm practicing, but also like I'm trying to like grow the reputation as someone that people can come to learn more about drums?
Yeah. Look, I don't think I don't think I had to make a particularly conscious mindset switch. Although one thing, a funny thing that I've observed is often we treat other people better than we treat ourselves. And, I think about how I treat my students how I might treat myself when I'm practicing my own. And I could be really hard on myself when I'm practicing on my own, and I could get quite frustrated or whatever. And if there's a camera up there, I don't want to be streaming myself, like swearing my head off, like, throwing sticks across the room or anything. But so what's been interesting I've observed of myself is if I'm streaming my practice and I make a mistake and I'll have that approach of like, oh, that's interesting. What am I doing wrong there? And be able to kindly teach myself, as I would a student, how to overcome that challenge.
Wow.
Because I don't want to lose my shit in front of the camera.
That must bring so much more positivity though. Like that separation of you're not just letting the inner monologue rip into you.
Yeah, I just had the realization though, if I did lose it in front of the camera, it would make great viral footage. But so the other thing that my friend...
Young man destroys drum kit in fit of rage post 4 hours of streaming paradiddles.
Yeah. But the other thing that my friend said to me, Dill, when at the start of the year, I was like, I want to get better at the social media thing, but it's always been such a drag in the past. It was very much like, well, it's got to be for you. It's got to be authentic because people will know if it's not authentic, but it can only be sustainable if it's authentic as well. So, I'm learning niche songs that not a lot of people would be looking up. I'm not learning songs for a massive hit rate. I spent 5 months trying to play Bleed by Meshuggah just because I needed to overcome that challenge and hit that goal. No one wants to... some drummers do want to see Bleed, but they don't want to see me do it for 5 months straight. Too bad. That's kind of what they got on my stream, So making sure it's aligned with what I want to achieve as a musician felt like it hasn't been... I'm switching on a persona. Mm-hmm. Although, I'm going to just go back on what I said. My friend Dill was saying, so when he's like, let's just practice streaming, practice, even if no one's there, practice talking in front of people. I'm like, dude, I'm a high school teacher. I'm used to talking in front of kids that aren't engaged and having to be enthusiastic about it. So it was really natural for me as well. It was a good
cool
way I could apply that skill of talking to an audience that are giving you nothing and just pretend I'm really into this.
Yeah. My enthusiasm for the task will override their disinterest and engagement. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, so that's been the streaming in a nutshell. And I'm really fortunate that I live in a rental that has a built-in studio.
Wow.
It's a room within a room within the garage.
Did you build that?
No. So, long story short, I was living in a share house with Dan Cooper, Matt Owen, and another guy, Alex Templey. And actually, they're all members of my band, Tide of Wisdom. And long story short, mid-second lockdown, my ex-partner, who was from Tasmania, and I decided, let's go to Tasmania and to be with her family and also get out of lockdown. And there's a few other things that went down, but I won't get into those. And anyway, Alex, that share house ended up disbanding because everyone had some different things. No bad blood between those guys. We're all really good friends. That wasn't the stuff that went down. Other stuff went down. But anyway, Alex, who's also a drummer, he moved into this place in Broady, which is where I'm living now. And he found out about this place because he was in a rock band or something at the time, and the bass player owned this house and had built a studio in the garage.
Wow.
So I've been really lucky that, when I moved back to Tassie, I moved in with Alex in this place in Broady and have this private rental agreement, and there's a studio in the garage.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really lucked out with that. Yeah. That's why I was saying to her, I was like, I might have to move out, and I'm a little bit bummed that I might lose that studio. And it's also why I'm hustling to get as much content out of the studio while I've got it.
Yeah, it's tricky, the practicalities of practicing drums, in a city.
Yeah. yeah, so that's been really great. Yeah, I sort of forgot where we were going with that.
No, I can't remember either. But it was interesting to hear about this house. Oh, yeah, because I asked you, like, did you build the studio in the house? No, the studio was already built.
Yeah, and that's just pure luck.
But you've specifically rented a place that already had a studio built into the garage.
Yeah.
Can you practice any time? Like, is this soundproof?
No, it's not completely soundproof, but, like, you know, I've got a rehearsal tonight with some people, you know, we'll probably play to like 9 o'clock, and that won't really. We've never had any complaints from neighbours.
That's awesome.
So yeah, it's just a lot less taxing on the neighbours and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of rev heads in our street, so I feel like we're the least of their concerns.
Yeah, that's nice. If there's other people making noise, you're not the only one.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, around here, I'm the only one. There's someone who practices drums like 2 blocks over.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I haven't figured out which house it is yet.
Have you kind of got like a bit of a deal or negotiation with your neighbours in terms of what times you practice?
Like we sort of just chat about it. Like if there's going to be a rehearsal here, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Lucy's band, Gush, won't rehearse here because they're too loud.
Yeah.
So like, you know, it's sort of like limited to if either of us are doing like a, you know, folk alternative sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then, I'm not doing very much practice at the moment. I just haven't had, like, capacity.
Yeah.
But I'll play a little bit, like after business hours or on the weekend if I know someone's out, or I'll send a message being like, oh, I've got a gig, I got to practice this.
Yeah.
Is it okay if I do it at X time? But, like, you know, all the drums are covered in, like, layers and layers of towels and sheets, and, you know, there's socks over the kick drum beater.
I've done that too,
Anything to, like, bring the volume down, tiny sticks, and... Yeah, I don't know. Just do what you can.
Yeah. It is... I suppose because if you're not playing with super heavy stuff, like, that's okay. I've been playing on, like, a lot of rock and metal recently.
Yeah, I couldn't... Yeah. Yeah, I'm doing, like, you know, Big Thief's put out a new album, so I can, like, you know, play along to this, like, folk rock.
Yeah.
But, yeah, some, like, post-punk. It's not going to go down so well. At least not on the regular.
Yeah.
Well, before we completely move on, can you please explain what Twitch is? Like, how does this work for you? Like,
cool. So because I'm 31, I'm going to call it the Twitch.
Nice.
So the Twitch.
Is this because you've listened to my episode with Jessie Singleton, my sister?
I did listen to that.
I called it the TikTok or something, and now she constantly teases me and says,
it was a thing as a thing I heard from another friend of mine before that, like when you get older, you start to add the unnecessarily to different brands and things like that. But I did listen to that episode, mostly because I wanted to, like, you know, you're saying that your sister's been really successful with social media. And I was like trying to find out her secrets.
Sydney has been amazing at it. Did you end up talking to her?
No. I just listened to the pod.
I'll put you in contact if you'd like.
Cool. It was also, though, humbling to hear her say that, like, you know, sometimes she'll, like, work on something, she's like, oh, this is going to work out, this is going to be a really good one, and then just flops, and then something else she'll just, like, throw away, and, you know, that's one gains heaps of traction.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of that, so there's another platform I'm on. So you know the website called Ultimate Guitar, where you can look up tabs and stuff? So they got a social media site. So again, there's all, you're going to be hearing about Dill heaps. Love you, man. You've been so good to me.
Sounds like an excellent mentor.
Yeah, he's been awesome, you know. And then we also, like, after our business chats, we'll play Age of Empires together as well. We're also massive nerds. Anyway, he was like, you should get on the social media side of Ultimate Guitar because, you know, that's musicians are going there to learn songs and stuff. So it's like the right audience, you know. It's all about trying to do me and find my niche, you know, because like I said, I'm just playing really obscure songs that I want to learn.
Is there drum stuff?
Yeah, there's drum stuff. And anyway, I think it was after my first stream or something, or maybe it's like my third or fourth or whatever, I was just playing along to some songs really loosely. And I put on a Meshuggah song called Demiurge, which I recently did a proper cover of, but back then I didn't know it. I just thought, I'll just, like, play along and get the vibe. Totally butchered it. Like, it was horrible. But I found, like, 18 seconds where I looked pretty cool.
Okay.
So I was like, cool, there's a little bit of content there. Okay. And I put it on this Ultimate Guitar, like, reels kind of, or they call it shots, but essentially it's reels up there. And it ended up, like, being featured on their homepage and got like 8,000 views.
Wow.
I was like, wow, that's It's really funny that, the song that I butchered completely but had 18 seconds where it was all right, just took off.
Versus all those other ones where you spent like 5 months.
Yeah, like there's like, I know, Bleed's got like 100 views or something. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter though, because like, I can say I learnt that song and it's so difficult. It was so difficult. Like, I'm not going to, it's like almost talking about a trauma when I talk about that song.
Wow.
The other thing I wanted to mention about like the content and stuff, and like I've been sitting on like an EP that I've been mixing for myself for way too long. I'll probably just chuck it out next year. And again, Dill was like saying to me, like, the social media stuff is really good for me to get out of that perfectionist mindset of being like, cool, I did this cover. This is as good as it's going to get. It's out there now. Move on to the next thing, So just doing the best that you can, often, sometimes with a deadline, if I think I'm doing something for too long. And it's like, cool, that's the best I can do right now. I'm just going to post it. I'm 90% happy with it, and I'm going to move on to the next thing. It's been really good and like you grow so much faster doing that rather than obsessing over the one thing over and over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How does it feel for you to have someone like Dill where you can like go to for this advice or questions, or just have that like, person that's like not really like very judgmental, but like able to provide like critical and encouraging feedback like is needed?
Yeah. Look, he's not like... He's like, I was going to say, he's not judgmental. He's a little bit judgmental. He's not judgmental. He's just really blunt with some of his criticism.
Okay.
But with kindness. Like, it's always with the goal of let's do better or whatever.
Yep.
It's been really good because there have been times where, like I said, I work full time. So I'll come home wrecked from work and I'll be jumping on the drums for a stream for like an hour. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's been good training of itself because you never get to play a gig under optimal conditions. And that's become my normal this year. And there've been times where I've been feeling a bit burnt out by it, or I feel like, these videos are like, it's really taxing. I don't feel like it's going anywhere. He's like, look, you're doing all the right things. Let's just stay consistent. And, it's been really good for that motivation and also a sense of accountability as well. Mm-hmm. Like, let's get this thing done by next week. And just having that other person keep you accountable or keep you motivated when you feel like you're not making any progress at all.
Yeah, sure.
You've got someone on the outside, but actually I have been seeing progress from where I'm standing, Mm-hmm. Whereas sometimes when you're in it, you don't realize how far you've come.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of how far you've come, how did you first get started with the drums?
Oh, it's kind of a weird story. So I was over at I must have been 12 years old. I was over at like a friend's place, like a family friend's place. And, there was a bunch of 16-year-olds there. And one of them had a drum kit at their place. Anyway, so I was like sitting in his room playing his drums and making up songs. Didn't know what I was doing. And then he and his like girlfriend like making out on the bed while I'm like playing the drums obnoxiously. And his brother's like trying to get me out of the room to like wingman his brother, and I wasn't budging just because I really like the drums. I don't know if this is inappropriate or not, but I always question whether there's like some kind of like subconscious connection between like sex and drums for me ever since. Anyway, like the next year comes around and my parents like, what do you want to do, a sport or an instrument this year kind of thing? And I was always terrible at sport. My brother's always been a great person at sport, and I always felt like I was somewhat in his shadow a little bit. And because I had that experience where I really enjoyed playing drums. I didn't know any drummers, so I didn't have anything to compare myself to. I was like, I want to learn the drums. And my parents are a little bit hesitant because obviously a drum kit's a big thing, it's expensive, and I'd also had a bit of a reputation of starting things and never following through with them. Mm-hmm. Anyway, they're like, let's get you a couple of lessons, see how you go. Had a couple of lessons, and I had to try and prove that I would practice. I would practice on my bed, so my parents would actually feel justified in buying me a kit, and that I would do it. And it was like the first thing that I felt like I was good at, and wow. That was really good for me. So it sort of became an identity thing. I didn't know any other drummers at my school. And yeah, it was like very much like that thing that I became known for, and the one thing I was good at. And I only found out years later that my mum had a word to my brother just saying, just don't get good at the drums. Let Tom have this one. So I always question like whether if my brother had like because he'd learnt a beat or two or something, but whether he'd like learnt more and got good, whether that would have disheartened me or not. So
thanks, Mum.
Yeah, thanks, Mum, and thanks, Nick, for stepping aside and letting me do one thing well.
Wow. So was this a school in Melbourne?
Yeah. So I grew up in Melbourne.
And who were your drum teachers?
So I was learning outside of school. So I first learnt at World of Music for my first year from a guy called Ollie Williams, and then I learnt for about 5 years at Ron Lee's Music Factory.
Okay.
From Adam Tardrew, and then I ended up teaching at Ron Lee's Music Factory. But like kind of cool thing is that like, you know, Adam Tardrew learnt from Graham Morgan and Frank Corniola, and like, you know, so did my later teachers like Dave Beck, and I think I'm not sure if Danny Fisher learnt from any of those guys or Tony Floyd did, but you know, and Adam was just like a covers pub rock kind of drummer, but you know, but he was also just an interesting dude, and you know, that was
cool. So where did the like drum nerd obsession come in? Like, was that something that was happening early on because you were like, oh, I'm good at this and I am practicing and stuff, or did that come later, like after, you know, playing just like music that you liked for years, and then I don't know, for whatever reason the like obsession grew into the like, you know, technical side of like really learning parts and stuff rather than you know,
like
just hitting stuff.
You know, like there's just no end. You know, like, you know, in a video game you can clock a video game. You can't clock the drums. And so there's no end. Like, you know, so like when I was a teenager, you know, like learned how to play Rage Against the Machine songs, Metallica songs, and then all of a sudden like introduced to jazz, and like, oh cool, now I'm playing along to like Herbie Hancock, and you know, you started getting into funk, and like, so you just keep like searching for the next hard thing. But because I grew up with like rock sort of music mostly, you know, and then I got into like most recently into like hardcore and like more like, I don't want to say math rock or math metal, because I don't want the math to be the point of the song. But like, so a really good example is like Carnival, Australian band from Perth, really for me strike that balance between like you can listen to it and just enjoy a really good song, but then you can look under the hood and be like, what's happening here? How does this put together? And so I think that's where the drum nerd stuff came in, because like, you know, I'd listen to songs and I'd want to play it mostly with like, I think Carnival was maybe a really big catalyst with this sort of stuff. Like I'd want to play this stuff, but it's stuff you can't wing.
Right.
You know, I feel like, well, at least I couldn't wing. So I felt like I had to pull it apart to see how it's put together, and, you know, like learn it rather precisely. And and then I only discovered Meshuggah through Meshuggah, which is like, you know, like this Swedish metal band that does all these crazy rhythms. But the thing that makes them quite accessible is that everything they do is still in 4/4 and in groups of 16 or 8 bars or whatever.
Okay.
But it's the way they cut up those bars is what's crazy. And I first discovered them through Mark Hannaford, who was one of the theory lecturers at uni. He played a song called Corridors of Chameleons I think it's actually his last lesson he taught before he went off to the US.
Wow.
And or at least the last lesson that I had with him before he went to the US. And it was a theory class, and it was like about rhythm, and it was just like, whoa, what is this? What time signature is this? And he's like, it's 4/4. And I was like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So yeah, it was all just like wanting to see. I don't know, there's a real satisfaction when you hear something and you can't follow it, and you're like, oh, where's the one? Where's this next rhythm coming? You know, and then when you pull it apart and you can finally follow it, there's like this real deep sense of satisfaction, I find. The other thing as well, like at Monash, I never really got heavy into the jazz. As soon as I discovered, I was actually forced to go first year into World Music Orchestra, which was run by Sam Evans, who's a tabla player. I had no idea what tabla was, and then some people were talking about, have you seen like a YouTube video of him playing tabla? And I was like, nah. And then I looked him up, and then just seeing his fingers fly across a really small drum and hearing so many different tones come out, I was like, that doesn't look real. I got to get a lesson.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I ended up learning tabla for 3 years with Sam Evans.
Oh, wow.
And I joined the Small World Ensemble, I think, for the rest of my time. I think I only did a jazz ensemble my first year. The rest of the time I just did world music.
Yeah, right.
Because the world music stuff, like, tickled my fancy in regards to learning odd time signatures and make them sound good. And also there'd be like a sense of like moodiness and ambience in it, like really creating like a character. Whereas sometimes playing the jazz ensemble as a drummer felt like running laps. So like, all right, here's another chorus. Here we go again. Here's the form. So yeah, like the World Music Orchestra stuff, like, actually the other really cool thing about that was that we didn't really have charts. Like Sam Evans made you transcribe a piece of music so we would have a catalogue of charts for the band. And so I've had to transcribe melodic stuff for the first time, which freaked me out as a drummer. I literally, very first time I did it, I literally had to like loop every single note and put it on slow motion and then just sit next to a keyboard and find the note. Like that's how bad my ear was. But yeah, I got there in the end. And, but because like, you know, we might be playing like a Balkan piece of music with like, I don't know, like a Balkan drum and like a Balkan brass section. And then we've got like a saxophone, drums, bass and guitar. It's like, all right, how are we going to make this work? And then we'd have to orchestrate these different parts. And so there's a really compositional element to his ensembles, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How is that like, I don't know, quite like eclectic and extremely different, like opening experience to all these different kinds of music and like way of expressing rhythms and forms and stuff, like informed the drum kit playing that you've sort of, you know, then like moved into doing predominantly?
Yeah. Like recently, I feel like only this year I've really started to really dive back into the drums. Like I can get interested in a lot of different things. And I think this year I kind of decided I want to get, if I'm going to be a master at something, it's too late. It has to be the drum set. I've put, it's like sunken cost theory.
You've already put in the hours.
Yeah, I've put in the hours. You know, being good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or being a polyglot who can speak multiple languages, it's like too late, man.
Well, can I ask about that then?
Yeah.
Because, you know, you're like, oh, I feel like this year I'm only getting to drums. Does that mean like, you know, when you've been playing gigs, you've just been gigging and like now this year you're practicing? Or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, so I feel like the last few years, I've just been on maintenance mode with the drums. Like just sustaining where I'm at, you know, but no real interest to like, you know, I started to feel like, what's the point of learning drums, like being really good and putting all these hours to learn a drum solo where that might last like 2 minutes in a year, you know, that kind of thing. You know, like it didn't seem relevant. But actually, you know, I had a lesson with Danny Fisher a couple of years ago, and it was like the first drum lesson I had in like 5 years. I was like 26 or 27 or something. And he just says to me, he said to me like, Tom, you're getting this age where you need to figure out why you're playing music, you know. Why are you doing this? It's especially when you consider that it can be at times rather unrewarding, or if we talk about it in a material sense. He gave me his reasons. It's not for me to say his reasons were, but he's quite blunt with his reasons as well, which I appreciate his direct honesty about that. And it really got me thinking about like some of my reasons. And some of my reasons weren't particularly flattering. Like, so for example, like I'd probably say I'm a bit of a vain person, so like validation's a bit of a thing. So that and social media, what a great combo. but quite genuinely, like the other thing that the main thing that keeps me going, or the nicer reason I suppose, is I love flow states of just when you're concentrating, you're concentrating on like one thing, you've forgotten about the world and all your other problems. And especially like I said to you, like, you know, I spent 5 months like learning, trying to perfect bleed, you know, that satisfaction of like, you know, it was actually a bit of like a few years actually of work, of like pre-work and figuring it out, going into that song before I actually dedicated a goal to actually do it in one take. But yeah, like just that chasing that satisfaction of like setting a really high goal and just doing whatever it takes to kind of get there. Like, so, and like, you know, and through that process, you're experiencing different flow states where you're just really immersed in whatever you're doing. Like, yeah, that's a big thing.
Is that what happens like most of the time once you've like set a large goal? When you sit down behind the drums, like does it take you a while to get into the flow state where, you know, time's sort of just disappearing as you're just like so deep in focus on, you know, learning something? Yeah.
So like I said, like I know earlier this thing pod I said, like, you know, I don't feel like I've been busy this year, and I mentioned that to my partner and Dylan. They're like, dude, you've been crazy busy because you get home, you've been working full time, and then you get home, and then like you're drumming for hours, and then you're like editing content and stuff. Like, do you realize that you're like how little downtime you have? And I was like, oh, that's a good point. Sorry, I forgot what we were talking about.
I was talking about like entering the flow state.
Yeah. Okay. So where I was going with that, besides bragging about how busy I am, was like, you know, getting home from work and being like, I really don't want to play the drums. I'm so tired or whatever, and going, okay, what is the minimum I need to do? And it's like, cool, I'm going to do like whatever the thing that I'm working on for 10 minutes, and I will literally set a timer. And the goal with that is like, okay, I just always need to be chipping away at it, no matter what. So that 10 minutes could finish and I could be like, cool, I've done my minimum, I can't do anymore. But that rarely happens. What happens is that 10 minutes is over and I've forgotten about the day that happened, and I've just re-entered the zone. I'm like, cool, I want to do another 10 minutes or another 10 minutes or whatever. And so just setting like these like little minimum standards of like, you know, something is always better than nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And these minimum goals, and often, usually when I do that, it breaks me out of that funk and it just really gets me into the zone.
Yeah. That's such awesome advice to people to have like that. Like my time is set for 10 minutes, so I'm gonna just do 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's enough to like break you into like, or sorry, not like break you, but like break all the thoughts of the rest of the world or like whatever else, and you're just able to actually start enjoying what you're doing.
Yeah.
Rather than the constant pull to, you know, everything else happening.
Yeah. The other thing, like you said, like this year, I've like, you know, you mentioned this year I've started my social media empire, which it's really not, but I love that you use that word. I'm going to keep it. Like this year was a bit of a reset for me. So at the start of the year, my partner and I read Atomic Habits, and I felt like I had pretty good habits, but I was like, I want to do better this year.
Mm-hmm.
You know, actually, I've never done like a New Year's resolution before, but I was like, I want to make a concentrated effort this year to do better. And there's a few different areas of my life. I won't go into all of them. Like, you know, some of them are just like generic, like exercise or whatever. And but one of my goals was like minimum 6 hours of practice a week. You know, and I haven't always hit that this year. But the way I've kept myself accountable to that, and so one of the other habits was like stream every week. And, and this is the thing that, you know, getting out of your mind with perfectionism is like, it doesn't have to be good, but it just has to get done.
Yes.
You know? Mm-hmm. But I literally time on my practice. And, you know, I break it up always into like 5-minute blocks or 10-minute blocks. And it always just means that like, if there's something that I don't want to work on that I know I'm going to suck at, I only have to suck at it for 5 minutes a day, you know? And usually you do that 2 or 3 times and then you get a grasp on it and then it's easier to keep going with it. But the way I've managed to keep myself accountable is like, I've been kind of tempted to buy some drum gear, but I don't really have a gigging application for it right now. But I'm like, if I meet one of these habits every week, I'm going to put I'm going to designate like $10 into like a music splurge fund.
Okay.
So I've like attached a consequence to these things.
Yeah, cool.
Which is another cool way of like, I've sort of kept myself accountable. Yeah, because it'd be easy just to like let myself off the hook and be like, and you know, like I said, I missed a couple of weeks of not getting my 6 hours of practicing this year. It happens. And it's like, cool, I just miss out on that $10 for that week, you know? But yeah, I've like 5 or 6 different habits, and so it's potential $50 or $60 to go into a splurge fund.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I used to have like a if I buy a piece of musical gear, it's got to earn itself back. But then after like just like playing drums and doing some like drum teaching work and starting earning some money separate to music, it's like, oh, like a lot more money comes in. So I you know, like bought a Moog synthesizer that
nice.
like has brought me so much fun and joy, but like is nowhere near earning itself like back. And so I'm sort of like stuck with the like, I can't buy anything else until that earns its back. But
it's keep,
gonna book me for an ambient synthesizer gig because I only know how to play like all the knobs rather than like the notes.
Actually, I just saw on like Instagram, Kieran Rafferty was playing a yoga gig, and I've done a yoga gig once before. But yeah, you could do that. You just create some ambience for some people.
Yeah, but I feel like the ambient artists are like awesome at what they do, and I would just be a fraud.
Just be more confident, and then people will believe it.
And a bigger reverb.
Yeah. You know what it's hard to do this on a podcast, but like there's a move that like you see some synthesizer people do where they really like put their whole body into turning a knob. Like put the whole arm into it.
Like a timpanist.
Yeah.
They really throw their arms up in the air before they hit the drum.
Yeah.
Yeah, the showman. Yeah. It's not me.
I really love like the showmanship of like when people are like fiddling with like synths and it's like, wow, they're putting their whole body and then literally just turning a knob. That only requires the fingers. But.
It just makes me think of a DJ that's doing nothing other than like dancing and pretending to move knobs.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like the attention. I just want to be up the back.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, my dream synth gig would be like synth bass, like someone who's like, let's do like an MJ tribute show.
Yeah.
And I can just play all the like Greg Fillingane's bass lines.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be the dream. But that's a side quest to your atomic habits. That's really interesting though, listening to the way that you've like set it up in like so many different structured ways.
Yeah.
And then it's nice hearing that you're like, oh yeah, like I have this small task or small structure.
Yeah.
But then once you start doing it, it's like building momentum for you, and you've got like the impact of like, all right, well now there's like a financial incentive for me, and now there's like the interest is growing because I just want to be able to do it.
Yeah. And look, like, you know, I've got a fair amount of money in that splurge fund, but I'm a bit of a tight ass, so I find it hard to like still justify buying the gear. But it's like I've just become addicted to it's like getting points in a game that don't mean anything.
Yeah.
I've gamified my habits is what's happened.
Yeah, cool. But that's what they say, isn't it? Like it's not you want to buy the thing.
Yeah.
But like the wanting to buy the thing gives you more like joy than actually like getting it.
Yeah, I suppose. Depends how good a Nostra snare drum is. I've heard they're pretty good.
Let us know once you've got enough in the fund.
Yeah, well, the other thing, like, I can't justify it yet unless I get into like this this band that I was talking about that might have music that's appropriate for that style. Okay. Yeah.
So does Twitch pay you to Twitch?
No. You need to get. I think you need to get like at least 50 followers and to get to I think what's called affiliate status. There's a few different milestones you have to hit, and I haven't hit those.
Okay.
But the Twitch is really just a vehicle for me to create long content, you know, and then I can edit it later.
Yeah, sure.
I've got so many streams where I have to listen back to myself talking and figure out, did I say anything worthwhile here?
Yeah, it would be lovely to have an editor.
Yeah. I tried to pawn that job on Dylan. He's like, no, it's time for you to learn. Well played.
At least you tried.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've been playing the game on the podcast.
Yeah.
Question for the next guest.
Yeah, cool.
So I got a question for you from pianist and composer and a whole bunch of other really cool things, Nathan Liao.
Mm-hmm.
What is the most embarrassing situation you've ever had on stage?
I honestly can't think of any. I would love to.
Wow.
I'd love to think of something terrible that had happened to me on stage, but I also feel like it's one of those things that like I'll get in my car later and I'll be like, oh, remember that time like this happened? I feel like something just came to me and I forgot about it. No, I honestly really can't think of anything embarrassing. I just know that my one pet peeve that I really hate on stage is if I'm playing and like usually it's a drunk person will. This is like if you're like on the ground level with the audience, you know, like I'll play like cafes or small bars and stuff. Mm-hmm. Actually, I do have a story. It's not quite on stage, but I'll get to that. Is when you get like a drunk person like come up to you and then like start talking to you whilst you're playing, or like I have requests and it's like I'm currently working, buddy. Also, this thing that I'm playing is rather loud and I can't hear you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I just thought of something that was somewhat embarrassing. So I went on a East Coast tour with an artist called Blooming a couple of years ago, and that was so. Yeah, there's Blooming, the singer, and the band was Matt Owen on bass. Sung Lo was on guitar for the tour, and I think that was it. I think Dan Cooper only joined us for the Sydney show. I think it was that was the band, and we were in. This is a little embarrassing. It's meant to be embarrassing, right? Yeah, we're in Coffs Harbour, and me being a young, silly musician decided whilst on tour being on Tinder would be a great idea, right? Because I had played with an artist before when I was in Germany. When we he was a Danish artist, so would sometimes go to Denmark and play, and all the band members were on Tinder at that time.
Right.
I won't go into reasons why. Although actually one time they actually used Tinder just to sort out their accommodation. Accommodation with benefits. Anyway, that wasn't me. But anyway, it was in Coffs Harbour. Man, I really hope my students don't listen to this.
Low budget gigging.
Yeah, low budget gigging. Yeah. So we were in Coffs Harbour. I was on Tinder. Partly, it wasn't like just to try and pick up, but it was like also just to spruik the show and, another means of promo.
Okay.
Anyway,
I've heard that's a thing, that people just have like Tinder accounts for advertising stuff.
It was
like
just
gigs and things.
It's like,
like
hey,
that.
we're in town, we're playing this gig here, come on by or whatever, and so I did that I matched with a person and spruiked the gig, and he actually showed up. But what was interesting was that the gig that we thought we were playing, we were like, oh, cool. So we've got like three sets at this bar. And it turns out they didn't realize they'd booked a full band. And it was a restaurant.
Oh.
Yeah. And, we were playing on the ground floor in front of like families and stuff like that. And, I was playing brushes because, it wasn't a gig for us. We were playing for other people.
What kind of music was it? Like, is it a covers gig? Or
it was indie folk, alternative kind of stuff. We could get loud though. And we had a few covers in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the thing, like, when you just don't think something through, it was like, oh, it'd be really great to be on Tinder while I'm on tour and spruik the gig and get people to show up. And then someone shows up like, why did I do that? And anyway, so like, it was like in between sets, I had like this really awkward kind of Tinder date with someone.
In between sets.
Yeah. They didn't, yeah. But what was kind of interesting, like we did not click at all and it was not a great vibe. But what was the only like benefit was that they had like done exchange in Denmark. So I got to practice my Danish on them or something.
Okay.
So,
because you were pursuing your like multilingual.
Well, yeah. So when I went to Berlin, I learnt German before I went, and I got decent at that. And I played with a Danish musician and met an ex-partner of mine who was Danish, and she probably still is Danish as well. Sorry, that's a Carl Barron joke. I always use that. So yeah, I'd learnt some Danish, and then when I travelled to, I mentioned earlier, I travelled to Hungary, and I had tried to learn as much Hungarian as I could, and went to Iceland as well. And it's like, because I was in an apartment in Berlin and I couldn't play drums, languages got my drive and passion and stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So I'd go to the library and pick up language books.
Wow.
Yeah. So if I was traveling somewhere, I'd like, and also, I feel like if you have the capacity and you're traveling somewhere, it's like courtesy to learn the other language. So for example, I'll be going to Canada later, and we'll be spending some time in Montreal. So I've been learning a little bit of French. It's not going to be great though. I've been a bit slack with it recently, but yeah.
Well, so someone who's like traveled quite a lot. Yeah. Why base yourself in Melbourne?
Turns out I really love my friends and family, so that was yeah. So yeah, I did my year in Berlin after I finished my music and arts degree, and I probably didn't take it as seriously as I thought I was going to, and it just turned into a fun kind of gap year, lots of traveling and lots of great experiences. And then I think I mentioned earlier that I was in Tasmania for 2 years with an ex-partner of mine, and yeah, like Hobart's a lovely place to live. Like I'm really sorry to mention this, Hobart. The secret's out. It's actually a really wonderful place to live. Now everyone's going to go there now. But I did consider staying in Tasmania at one stage because I liked my job, and like I said, it's a really beautiful place to live because you've got access to the bush and access to the city within like 5 minutes of each other. Like at one point I was living in West Hobart when the suburbs met the bush, but it would take me 5 minutes to drive into the CBD. If you can no one calls it the CBD though. Sorry, they call it town. If you go into town, but yeah, obviously friends and family is the thing that brought me back to Melbourne. Yeah, I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with Melbourne. Like I feel like it's like that thing I'm trying to get away from, but it always pulls me back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how do you feel about like, you know, being a full-time teacher as well as pursuing this? Like, you know, lots of people have so many different like feelings about like, oh, I'm doing this for like a certain amount of time, or I wish I could do something else, but like I'm letting one of them go for like whatever reason. Where are you at with, you know, juggling the duality of, you know, two time sinks?
Yeah. In a weird way, like as much as I would love to be a full-time musician, ideally I think I'd like to split my week up with multiple different things. Like say if I taught 2 days a week, I played a gig the other day a week, and then I was in the studio 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like something like that. Where there's variety in my week, it means I could approach all those things with a lot of appreciation and freshness. But look, there's no secret. Like teaching's a grind. It's hard work, and I feel like because it is a bit of a grind, it's motivated me more to really reclaim my time outside of work and make that time really count. So I feel like if teaching didn't make me time poor, then I probably wouldn't be using my time as effectively as what I am now. And I wouldn't feel that sense of urgency of like, I really want to achieve these things that I feel like I haven't achieved yet that I really want to do. Those things being the main things I want to try and achieve next are like big gigs and tours.
Yeah,
like I'd like to, you know, I've only played a handful of gigs in front of, you know, like say 100 plus people, and I'd like to do a lot more of those because there's a real like rush you get from that. That's what I'm chasing now.
Yeah, cool.
And like and the social media is like all it's a way to kind of get there, hopefully, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Get my name out again in the music community, and show off my skills, and you know, and also showing off the skills that I want to show off and the niches that I want to play as well. So just trying to find the right people and connect with the right people.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think like your persistence with the like, you know, I've got this task and I'm going to like work really, really hard at like being able to achieve it is so impressive. Like, you know, even the way you're like, well, I'm going to learn this song for 5 months, but also like bigger to be like, all right, well, like I want to get back in. I've got this goal to like play to an audience of whatever size.
Yeah.
And then, you know, there's so many people that start doing teaching and they go, oh, I've got home and I'm tired. And then that's it. And their music stuff, like, regardless of how much they were into it when they were like studying or playing when they were younger, it sort of just like drifts off with time. But you seem to have this like, I don't know,
fear. It's fear. It's all motivated by fear.
Well, thanks for being honest about it.
Yeah.
But I don't know, it's like
it's a truly altruistic desire to spread love and joy to my audiences. So it's not, it's fear. It's fear that time is running out and then I got to make use of my time.
Well, it's very encouraging. Like to us watching on as someone, you know, terrified of like
terrified of failure.
Yeah. I don't know, like I feel like I relate to a lot of that, and I look back at 10 years of like my like gigging stuff.
Yeah.
And like there's no music out there of mine from the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Like there's some sessions I've played for other people on their albums, but I've like written heaps of music and I had a great band like at the end of uni.
Yeah.
But like none of it was ever good enough, so it like, you know, got left like in the studio or just like stuck trying to like mix something that was never quite perfect. And all of a sudden 10 years have gone past and it's like, oh, I wish I just wasn't so harsh and like did some stuff. Like, you know, it's hard not to look on at like other peers or whatever and be like, oh look, they were like constantly putting out music and I was stuck in like a self-critical loop or whatever.
But we're all living in fear.
Yeah.
That's why we're doing it.
So that's why I've got a podcast that I try and just put out unedited because otherwise if I had to edit it, it would never come out.
Yeah. I think it's really good to have like something like that in your life where you take seriously, but you don't take seriously. Like, you know, so for me, like I want to put my best foot forward when I do social media. And like, I've been super nitpicky with some of my takes, but I'm being nitpicky with my takes because my standard grows the better I get with it. Like just drum cover, I've been really amazed with how much better I've become as a player by just doing drum covers. And, but it's been, you know, like I said earlier, like, so my project Tidal Wisdom, has been, I've had an EP sit on the shelf. Like I've done like 5 different mixes from scratch of it. At the end of the day, I just need to like throw it out in the world and just move on to the next thing. And that's probably what will happen next year. So it's really nice to have like something that whether it's like for you, your podcast, or for me, like my social media page, it's something that you're kind of doing seriously, but you're not letting the perfectionism get in the way of just moving on to the next thing. And I think there's something really important in that. I think there's a quote I read from a Benny Greb practice book, and I'm sure he didn't coin it, but it's just like, do the best with what you have now. And I also apply it in the sense of like, do the best with the skills you have now. Like, so, it's funny, like I posted a cover recently, and it's got a really nice feedback and really great comments, and I was really appreciative of that. But there was a Meshuggah song I posted, Clockworks, which was another epic song. It was like a 7-minute song I wanted to get in one take. And look, at the end of the day, there was a part of it that wasn't super clean, and then a few people on YouTube picked me up on it, and I was like, and also the way that they pulled me up in it was a little bit patronizing. Like, they'll talk to me as like they were my teacher, as in like, right. Oh, it's not quite there yet, I think you need a bit more practice. And so I don't even know this person, but that really affected me. So I'm not quite sure how we got into that, but yeah, just having someone kind of outlet that you can take yourself serious, you sort of take seriously, but yeah, you just also just throw out the result no matter what, you know? And for me, like that, I threw out that version of Clockworks because I'd been doing it for like the same song for weeks and weeks. And I think I counted that I did over like the space of 2 weeks, like 68 takes of that song. It's a 7.5 minute song. Trying to get that one perfect take.
Wow. And
yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, okay, I just have to set this weekend as my deadline. Whatever is my best take after this weekend is what's going out there, you know? So yeah, similar with the pod, like, you know, it's not something that you have to edit and get perfect. You just move on to the next one and apply the skills that you take from that process onto the next project.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like you've got a great balance of that, like you've got the deadline or something, so like you can still like bring all of your like quality and work ethic and like I want to put out a really good product, but also like but I won't let it hold back.
Yeah, time to move on.
Yeah. Do you remember Brody Everest, the sax player?
Didn't he like run to be like a Greens?
Yeah, out in Belgrave. I don't think he was elected.
No, it's a shame.
I
would have voted for him if I lived in Belgrave.
Yeah, likewise.
Yeah.
In like 2018.
Yeah.
Brody and I started like a music accountability partnership.
Yeah.
And so I think it was like once a week or once a fortnight we'd call each other, we'd talk about like our practice goals and our like what was happening with our gigs and stuff.
Yeah.
And he really encouraged me to just post stuff with the iPhone mic on my camera. Unedited, not mic'd, just like raw.
Yeah.
For the pure exercise of putting out something that I would never want to put out. Because it was like raw and had mistakes and I didn't have all the mics, and it was like this really awesome exercise that changed things for me to just put the like camera down and either like film me playing drums or like Lucy and I sang a bunch of songs together during lockdown.
Yep.
And it's all just like, it was like the exercise of like just doing something and sharing it, so that it was like, okay, and now that task is done. Like, tick, like we've done it. I didn't have to like sit down.
You can put $10 into your music splurge fund.
I should add that in.
Yeah.
But it was so good because it really helped me get out of that like, no, like the take's not right. I got to go again, and I've got to go again. And it's like, no, you've just got one chance to play along to that song. On the drums. That's it.
Yeah.
And sit down. Maybe you do like 2 takes of the cover with Lucy as you're learning it. But then just put it out, because the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get with like doing that, and then it gets better. And now I think for the podcast, I'm much more like what you're saying. Like I'm really invested in putting out a podcast that like sounds really good and have like interesting people like you to talk to about like the different niches of like the music scene in Melbourne.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if I tried to like, you know, chop this up into like a 20-minute like attention grabbing extreme like dopamine hit podcast, like I'd never put it out because it would take way too much time and I'd get stuck on all of it. Whereas this, it's like, actually the whole point is I'm having a nice time chatting to musicians that are doing like cool and interesting things. Yeah. And it's a bonus if there's some extra people that like, you know, get in contact with them or listen to their music, or, you know, it just encourages other people to play. So actually that's the goal, not like, you know, a podcast empire that changes selections. Yeah.
Yeah. I appreciate that you're enjoying this chat with me, because I was like, again, like I mentioned, I was like a bit chuffed when I got the invite, and I mentioned to Bill, like, I'm going to be on a podcast, we've made it, you know. And awesome. I'm like, what do I talk about? I feel like I haven't been doing anything, you know.
I feel like that's where it's interesting, because like one of the reasons I wanted to chat to you was because, you know, you've been playing drums for 20 years. But it's
18 years.
18 years.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
12,
coming up to 19
31.
years. Yeah.
All right, almost
Yeah, sorry.
20 years. And like the last 10 years, like at quite a high level. And if someone was to like go to your, I don't know, YouTube account, they'd be like, oh, it's like a year old or something.
Yeah. He's doing pretty good for someone who's been playing for 1 year.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, you know, you have like an online presence of like an emerging artist.
Yeah.
But like you're someone who's been playing.
Yeah, I'm a bit of is the term laggard? Like if you're really behind with the times, or is it Luddite? I think maybe
Luddite, I think.
Yeah, I think I can be a bit of a Luddite in terms of, especially with moving with technology.
Mm-hmm.
So for example, like I got my first smartphone in, what year was it? 2018.
Oh, wow.
Like I held off for a smartphone for as long as I could. And then, you know, I was really late to the game with like Instagram. I did have a previous Instagram account, but it got deleted when I tried to share the same photo on like on Tidal Wisdom's page. And anyway, there's some kind of glitch that caused it to think I was spamming when I hadn't posted in like 3 weeks or something. But anyway, I'm not bitter about it at all. But yeah, but actually that was a blessing in disguise because it deleted. And this was when I was living in Tasmania, and you know, I was living a beautiful, beautiful life over there. And I was just like, well, I don't really need this. And it was out of my life, and it was really nice, you know. And so I was really hesitant about jumping back into it this year. But yeah, I think similar to the pod, like, you know, you're talking to people. I'm really chuffed that I'm one of them, but people that you want to talk to in the scene, and people you're like interested in hearing from. So I'm really chuffed that I'm included in that. But yeah, it's the thing, like I'm not learning songs that are hits out there. I'm learning just weird stuff that I just want to figure out, you know? And it's like, because it's authentic, then it's not going to grind me down. And I'm also like less concerned about the result. Like it's ironic that I'm bringing it up, but like, you know, I think that Bleed has like over 100 views or something. Not a big deal. Like I'm stoked that I learned that song because it's so difficult. Yes. And I don't consider myself a double kick player, and it's a double kick intensive song.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so just I feel like that's what makes it sustainable and also more authentic, and if it's more authentic, it's more engaging as well.
Yeah. And it keeps you going. Like Nathan was talking to me about that on the last podcast.
Yeah.
Where he was talking about like, for him, it's like about making music that he thinks is cool and interesting. But if you start trying to like chase something else, then all of a sudden it's not authentically you. And you like, the music industry is so like fickle, and so is social media. Like, you know, you're always like trying to chase like a trend or hope maybe in the future something like that'll go. But if you're really passionate about what you're doing, then you're getting all the self-fulfillment of like the task. So you know, people can engage with it whether or not like you feel good about it.
That is true. However, when I made my first album, which is Tidal Wisdom's Anywhere But Here, I went in with that mindset. Like I actually decided to write it when I was in Germany. Like I went to Germany after uni and be like, I'm not going to pursue anything. I'm not going to have a goal for a while. That lasted like a month. Once I said, I was like, I need to do something.
Yeah, you're a goals guy.
Yeah, I'm a goals guy. And I was like, I want to write an album. And I tried to put all my influences in one album. Which means that the album goes from like post-rock to some weird jazz to like a punk song to like a folk song to an instrumental drum piece. It made a lot of sense to me at the time. It was really like what do you call it? Like it's like when you really look into yourself. There's a word for that I can't think of.
Introspective.
That's it. Thank you. And, you know, I came back to Melbourne and I got my friends together. So I got like Matt Owen, Ash Richter, Dan Cooper, Dan Sang, and Leon Tan involved in the album. And we recorded the recording process. I learnt so much from it. It was awesome. Our first day we did it at a studio in Altona run by Michael Zammit called Airwaves. And Michael taught us so much. He was a really lovely guy to us. And he's just like, I'll call it a day when my years are done. First day we did a 13-hour day and we recorded 11 tracks. Because I had like organized the day to a T to maximize the money, because I didn't have a lot of money to do it. And ironically, like we the first day was a 13 hours where we recorded the drum, bass, guitar and keyboard live and did the double bass overdubs. The second day was like an 11-hour day where we did the trombone and violin and acoustic guitar overdubs and any other overdubs that we'd missed. And like glockenspiel and things like that. And I sang on like 6 songs. And it was the first time I sang. And again, it was the best I could do at the time. It actually took like 3 days of vocal recording because I just was not up to scratch. So I remember putting it out there again, like a lot of people were like, why are you singing, dude? You're a drummer, you know? And why does it go from this genre to this genre? And that kind of like I went in with this idea of, I'm not sure if you've ever heard Björk's debut album, but she has a few genre drums as well. I'm like, well, if Björk can do it, I can do it. Like, you know, there's no rules, whatever. Turns out people really like rules and genres and stuff. So the unpredictability of it, like of the album, you know, it made sense to me, but it didn't make sense to people who were listening to it. And I kind of went into a bit of a shell after that of like, I don't know if I should do this again. And then, you know, we've got an EP under the same name coming out next year, which is a bit more like punk, hardcore, post-rocky kind of hybrid. And it's a bit more succinct because I'm not trying to put every single influence that I've ever had into one album.
Sure.
And I have mixed feelings about it because like I'm relatively proud of the work that we created. It was the best I could do at that time, especially vocally speaking. But some of the songs, I'm proud of the writing that went into them. I think I tried to control the writing too much. Like I wrote as much as I could of my own, whereas I think I should have. And the guys did. I like put their influence and spin on it, but I think I should have got more collaboration from them, which we did for the EP, which is coming out later next year.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like, you know, so was it Nathan you mentioned?
Yeah.
You know, like you create music that you think is cool and interesting. Like, yeah, I did that. I didn't get the reaction I was hoping for, and you know, sort of like maybe a little bit shy after that at that point in time.
Yeah, well, it can be so harsh.
Yeah.
Like you're putting it out there, especially like a multi-genre thing.
Yeah.
That's brutal. That the feedback you got was like, come on, what's this?
Especially like from, you know, like some friends and family who are, you know, usually your biggest supporters.
Yes.
And you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that can be the harshest feedback that you get back because they're close. And
I'm starting to realize more and more how much I actually do care about what people think. You know, as much as I'd love to be like, I don't care what anyone thinks. Actually, it turns out I do. And that's kind of annoying and stuff.
Yeah, sure. No, that's fully relatable. I totally get that.
Yeah.
It's like, I meet people that seem to be unfazed.
Yeah.
And like, maybe they are and they're just not like aware of it or like they've learnt how to not do it or they just don't have that in them.
Yeah.
But it's always like, how do you just not care?
Yeah.
Like, I wish I could do that. I'm so like non-confrontational. Yeah. And in my brain, I'll be like, I just go tell that person to piss off. And then like I'm in the room and it's just like, I'll just do whatever I can to people please everybody. Yeah. Because I just want everything to be smooth and calm. Yeah. And it's tricky. Yeah.
Actually, like being a teacher really throws in the deep end of, because I don't like to be a confrontational person, even though I've done I really got into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu over the last few years. I don't do it anymore. But like teaching, like it's like, I have to have conflict every day, you know, and I have to deal with that and remain calm and non-reactive as best to my ability.
Yep.
Yeah.
Personal growth.
Personal growth. Yeah.
All right, Tom, what would you like to ask our next guest?
Oh man, I made like 6 questions. I'm actually pretty chuffed about them, but I can't ask 6 questions.
I'm so impressed. Like you can ask 6 questions, but could you pick one that like most resonates with you after our chat that you would like to know from our next guest?
Oh, man.
I love that you've come with this list. No,
because I wrote it a little bit early, so I just jotted some stuff down in the car.
Can we hear the whole list?
I'll give you the whole list. Okay. Do you feel like gigs get in the way of your own musical development? Is one. What would you redirect the time, energy, and passion that you put into music into, like a different thing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the context of being a musician, what do you think of the expression "jack of all trades, master of none"? If you could have a jam, a chat, or learn from anyone, living or dead, who would it be? If you could Frankenstein yourself from any 2 or 3 plays, who would it be? Considering all the challenges that come with a career in music, if you could choose a different path, would you, and what would it be? And how do you deal with anonymous criticism?
Oh,
that one sort of came up because there was actually in my old office, there was like a meme on the wall, and it was like a scale, and it was like lots of positive comments on one side, equally weighted with one negative comment.
Oh yeah,
that kind of thing. And it's funny that like I remember saying to Dill like, oh, I got this like these few comments that have been like, oh, it's a bit sloppy or whatever. But I hope it was like, oh, it's a little bit sloppy, but I think you'll get there with more work or practice, which I interpreted as a bit patronizing. And I didn't. I just tried to respond to everything positively because I'm like, I'm not here to pick fights on the internet because. There's enough. Let's not get into that. And my friend Dill's like, dude, they're also like, another way you could look at it, they are still encouraging. They're not saying like, you're shit, give up. They're just saying,
keep working at it.
Yeah, keep working at it. And then I'll give you my approval.
Yeah, it's really, I was talking to someone else just the other day about, they were live on one of the social things, like doing some cover stuff.
Yeah.
And yeah, someone just like came in and like had a go at him. Not about like the music, but it was like, oh no, you don't, like if you want to be successful, you got to change your look and like you got to be better. And it was like, I've got like all of this positive stuff coming in from like all these different people, and then this one person who was commenting this thing, and now it's like all I'm thinking about. Yeah, it's just like it just sticks with you. It's so tough.
Yeah.
Especially putting yourself out there, like on the social media. Like it's not like you've gone down to like a venue and played, drums for an hour, and the people that bought tickets like could come in and, let you know something if they really wanted to stick around afterward. Yeah. It's just like, oh no, you're there, and anyone in the whole world that finds your stuff can just come in there and tell you whatever they want. Yeah.
I really would love to say to those people like, okay, like it's the internet's up for grabs, like jump on, give us what you got kind of thing.
Do you really want them to jump on though?
Then we get more like Joe Rogan's, right? Don't we?
Yeah, I guess.
Sorry, Joe Rogan's not the person I quite think of. I know there's a scene on Twitch of like, we don't have to include this on the pod, of like, I watched it on like Louis Theroux. There's like these far right, like.
I watched that.
It's like Forbidden America or something.
Yeah, and they walk around like saying controversial stuff.
Yeah. And it's like, and they're just like, it's like they're just talking to themselves for 3 hours, ranting about stuff without consulting anyone's opinion but their own.
It's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And how many people were following it? I couldn't believe it.
They give them money. It's like, what am I doing wrong with my life? Here I am in a public school, serving the community and trying to be a musician. And
they must be so good at not thinking about what other people think of them.
I need some of that skill. Yeah.
You need to become way too self-absorbed.
Yeah.
And just, I don't know, stare in the mirror.
Yeah.
All right. Well, which of those questions would you like me to ask? Would you like to ask the next guest?
Yeah. Okay. I think
they were all really interesting.
Yeah. I feel like the question of like, if what would you do? Because two of these, I feel like are pretty much the question of what would you do if it wasn't music, and I feel like that's come up.
Yeah, it has
a bit.
Yeah.
I want to ask this one because it could be controversial somewhat. Do you feel like gigs get in the way of your own musical development? Or do you feel like gigs or playing with other people gets in the way of your own musical development?
I like it. That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
We've run out of time for me to ask you that question.
Oh, yeah.
But we will do the 5 rapid-fire questions to finish.
Awesome.
What is one piece of advice that you would give to your younger self?
Ooh. So part of those questions were that had that list of questions, is this idea, would you do something other than music? And I've contemplated the idea, like, maybe I should have been a dancer.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I hate carrying gear. And, like I mentioned before, like I did like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for like 2 years, and I really just enjoyed learning how to move my body in ways I'd never thought I could move my body before and stuff. And I like that physical element and that feeling of being in my body. And dance would also tick that artistic expression side as well. So I feel like I'd be getting my physical and artistic fixes in that one activity.
Yeah.
And plus not bringing gear. I did mention that to a ballet dancer, and he was just like, "Yeah, but you pay for it with injuries." So I don't know. But maybe I'd tell young Tom, you should have been a dancer.
Yeah, but not a ballet dancer.
Oh, I don't know. But
Would you like to do ballet?
Look, I haven't watched enough ballet to like
The next Billy Elliot.
maybe I don't know. I haven't watched enough ballet, but any kind of dance that's like really physically intensive that you need to be like really strong to do. I think I really get a lot of kick out of that.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I feel like ballet is one of those like you got to be actually quite strong to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What is your coffee order?
I don't drink coffee.
What is your beverage order of choice?
Soda water currently.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, sorry. I only gave you flat water.
Yeah, it's okay. We're in cost of living crisis.
Oh, it's because the soda stream died yesterday.
Oh, you do have a soda stream.
Yeah.
Damn.
But I tried to give it to Nathan.
Yeah, right.
Yesterday we recorded his episode.
Yeah.
And then I was like pressing the button and it was just like not like bubbling properly.
Damn. You know, my partner is studying, she's doing her honours in science, and we did with a science experiment where we counted how many bottles we would get out of a gas canister.
Oh, yeah.
Because she has like a Philips one. This is so not music related, but it's still an interesting thought for people to think about. But yeah, we have like this Philips one, and found out we only got like 20 bottles, which was less than 20 litres, and it says you should get 60 litres. So controversial, but maybe it's the machine and not the bottles. I don't know.
Is it cheaper to just buy the sparkling water?
In that case, it would have been, but there's also like the plastic waste as well. So we're now having to think about our soda stream situation.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fascinating. Can you post a little comment or make a little story about it when this episode comes out? Like, because it'll be in, mid to late next year.
Yeah, yeah. I'll tag SodaStream and Philips and tell them to get their shit together.
Yeah. Might bring some more attention to the pod, some more Discord.
Yeah.
I don't drink coffee either, so
yeah, cool.
No judgment.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. It's Melbourne, and Jesse suggested I ask this question as like a Melbourne-centric question. See, people love it.
I've probably had like 2 coffees in my life. Because I remember being at uni and everyone would just be like whinging about how much a coffee would cost or how they would be dying for a coffee. And I'm like, well, I don't want to get down that track.
Same.
I'm too much of a tight ass.
Exactly the same.
But I was also like, I'm kind of fine as I am. Like, obviously I'm tired, but in an hour I won't be tired.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It means, I don't know if you found this, but like if I have to do like a really long drive, like to Sydney in a day or something.
Oh, yeah.
I haven't done that in like years, but back at uni in like 2017, I was doing it a bit.
Yeah.
But I could just drink like a can of Red Bull.
Yeah.
And because I was like not exposed to caffeine on the regular, it was amazing.
Yeah.
And I could function really well.
Wow.
It was just like so effective.
Yep.
Or same thing like late night driving back, like after a wedding gig or something like that. I was like, all right, I can use the caffeine to my advantage because I don't drink coffee.
Yeah.
And it was just like, I don't know, performance enhancing drugs on the minor. All right, back to the questions. What's your favourite place to get food after a gig in Melbourne?
I knew this one was going to come up because I've listened to the pod, and because I haven't really done a gig in a while, like it hasn't really come. Like obviously, like there's the things like I could get a kebab, but I thought this would be a bit more fun to tell. It was like this would happen a bit more often when Dan and I were living together, and sometimes we'd play an Ancient Animal Orchestra gig and we'd come back home and would chuck one of those like frozen Nana's apple pies in the oven.
Oh,
have late night apple pie.
That's cute.
Yeah, it was great.
Nice.
Yeah. So that's probably my favorite post-gig meal.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's the most creative one by far, I think.
Yeah. Cooking's actually like a big part of like, so the people that I play with, like cooking's a bit of a thing. So like I hosted a rehearsal the other day, so I cooked dinner for everyone. I'm not sure if you know Tamara Weaver.
No.
She's an artist. She's gone under the name Mosette or something. So anyway, so Dan and I and Tamara are playing some music, and they come around tonight, and like I know Tamara will be bringing dinner. So it's like whoever's project it is often supplies dinner. And it's also just a really nice way to just connect with everyone at the start of a rehearsal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share a meal. Yeah.
Yeah, eating with the band is like it's not spoken about enough for how much of a benefit it is. Yeah,
I remember in my first year, I was in my first year in jazz ensembles had Steve Settergreen as our teacher. And this is how I first met Ash Richter as well. And it was like Christina Serafei and Tim Chambers, and I can't remember who else was in that band. Jared Chase. Anyway, But like Steve was just like, you guys have to vibe together. You guys need to like hang out. And so Ash and I would kind of start this tradition where we'd go to like the Sir John's pub after band rehearsal. And have word chart shows.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
And some people would join us, but sometimes it would just be Ash and I just drinking and eating word chart shows. And that's how we became like best friends.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And the classic word jarchos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a Monash throwback.
Yeah.
What is your favourite venue to play in Melbourne?
I should have known that this one was coming up.
Yeah, it's the same 5 questions.
Yeah, I know.
I've tried to change it like a couple times,
No,
but
that's all right.
it flops. So I keep going back to the...
I feel like being a drummer, I'm going to pick the venue that has good parking.
Oh, yeah. Fair.
I find High Street Northcote really difficult for parking. However, if you're playing 303, there is a good car park at the back of it.
Yeah.
So
And they'll open up the back for you if you're lucky.
yeah, that's true. And then actually I do like, no, let's go with 303 because you got the front room, which has a kit provided. So sometimes I can just bring cymbals, and then they've got the back room, which is a little bit bigger for a proper stage. And I've done gigs on both. And there's a kebab shop like next door to it as well. Let's go with 303.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, final question of the whole pod.
Yeah.
What would be your dream venue to play at?
I know this doesn't sound like crazy ambitious or anything, but you know, I think I mentioned to you that like my goal is to play in front of like, you know, easy 100 plus kind of people. And I've seen so many great bands play here. Used to be called the Hi-Fi Bar. It's now called Max Watts. Yeah, I think that's where I want to play.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I've never played there.
No, neither. Or actually really like the Forum as well. Like I love the ceiling in the Forum. Yeah. Let's go with was it Max Watts? Yeah.
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 Sick. All right. Thanks so much for doing this, Tom.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really cool to hear about the different things you're doing and like, philosophical thinking about stuff and like musical relationships and all the different things you'll be doing. It's been really interesting. So thank you so much for coming and sharing everything.
I really appreciate it, and it's been really fun.
Thanks for joining us on Our Drummers Musicians. I hope you enjoyed diving into the world of another musician as much as I did. Help us grow by leaving a review and sharing the podcast with your friends, family, favorite artist, or anyone else who might enjoy it. For more info and updates, visit ourdrummersmusicians.com. See you next time.